Battlestar Galactica, with its thrilling space battles and unforgettable characters, has etched itself into the memories of fans as a towering icon of science fiction. More than 4 decades later, behind every talented actor lies a harrowing secret. Stories of dazzling fame shadowed by the dark tragedies they kept hidden. In this video, we reveal the true identities and haunting, jaw-dropping stories they never wanted you to know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss a thing. Let's dive in. Richard Hatch as Captain Apollo. Richard Hatch, born on May 21, 1945, rose to global fame at the age of 33 when he took on the role of Captain Apollo in the sci-fi series Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979. As the dashing hero of the Viper Squadron, Hatch captivated audiences with his image of the ideal galactic warrior. But his real life was filled with somber undertones that no screenwriter could have dared to imagine. From theater to television, Hatch struggled to make a name for himself before his breakout role in Battlestar Galactica. Yet the spotlight didn't last long. After being cut from the franchise's merchandising deals, he realized he was just a pawn in a massive commercial machine. That brutal wake-up call pushed him to spend years trying to revive the series, going so far as to mortgage his home to fund a promo reel, only to be flatly rejected by the studio. Unwilling to back down, he returned in the 2004 reboot of Battlestar Galactica, this time as Tom Zarek, a controversial figure who transforms from a terrorist into a rebellious politician. The role mirrored Hatch's own life, someone beaten down by the system but refusing to stop fighting for what he believed in. In 2017, Richard Hatch passed away quietly at age 71 from pancreatic cancer, a diagnosis that came just months after he finished his final film, Diminuendo, a somber, nostalgic work that felt like a fateful farewell. Durk Benedict as Lieutenant Starbuck. Durk Benedict, born on March 1, 1945, was also 33 when he stepped into the role of Lieutenant Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979. As the smooth-talking, thrill-seeking pilot, Starbuck made Benedict a daring and seductive TV icon during the golden era of American television. But behind that bright, confident persona was a life marked by turbulence. In the 1970s, Benedict was diagnosed with a life-threatening prostate tumor. He refused modern medicine entirely and survived through an extreme macrobiotic diet introduced to him by actress Gloria Swanson. For Benedict, this was a survival battle, not on screen, but within his own body. His fame soared again as Templeton Faceman Peck in the A-Team, but his personal life crumbled. In 1986, he married actress Toni Hudson and had 2 sons. By 1995, the marriage had ended in divorce. Then came the real shock. In 1998, Benedict discovered he had a son who had been placed for adoption decades earlier, a child he never even knew existed until 30 years later. In later years, Benedict publicly criticized the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, calling the decision to turn Starbuck into a female character a victory in the war against masculinity. He continued writing books, performing on stage, and appearing in reality TV. Ultimately, he became a living symbol, not because of an enduring career, but because he had survived illness, failure, divorce, and the gut punch of late fatherhood. Now, at 80, Durk Benedict is no longer just the charming pilot of yesteryear. He is a living testament to a life upended by disease, heartbreak, and long-buried secrets finally brought to light. Lorne Greene as Commander Adama. Lorne Greene, born on February 12, 1915, in Ottawa, Canada, became an unforgettable figure as Commander Adama in Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979, taking on the role at the age of 63. As the steadfast leader of humanity fleeing extinction, Greene embodied strength, morality, and sacrifice, a symbol of leadership in the world of science fiction. Before that, Green was already globally recognized for his role as Pa Ben Cartwright in Bonanza, the long-running Western series that lasted 14 years. But behind the image of the ideal father figure was a life full of paradoxes. During World War II, Green was a newsreader announcing death tolls, his voice so solemn he was nicknamed the Voice of Doom. That wartime sorrow followed him throughout his career. After over 2 decades of marriage, Green divorced and later built a real-life replica of the Ponderosa Ranch from Bonanza. He also devoted himself to Canadian television, hosting environmental programs, perhaps as a way to redeem, in part, the tragedies he once reported during the war. In his final years, Green underwent surgery for a bleeding ulcer. But fate was cruel. He died from complications of pneumonia on September 11, 1987, at the age of 72, like a tragic prophecy come true. The father figure of humanity in space ultimately couldn't triumph over his own mortal body. Herbert Jefferson Jr. as Lieutenant Boomer. Herbert Jefferson Jr., born on September 28, 1946, in Sandersville, Georgia, began his acting career in his early 30s and is best known for playing Lieutenant Boomer in the original Battlestar Galactica, 1978. As one of the show's top fighter pilots, Jefferson brought strength and resilience to the role, stepping in after actor Terry Carter had to withdraw due to injury. Beyond television, Jefferson appeared in major Hollywood films such as Apollo 13 and Outbreak, often taking on supporting roles that still left a lasting impact. He also featured in online sci-fi projects like Star Trek, Renegades, and Star Trek, Of Gods and Men. With a career spanning decades, Jefferson is far more than just Boomer to fans of Battlestar Galactica. He is a seasoned actor who weathered the ups and downs of the entertainment industry. Even at 79 years old in 2025, he remains active in both television and film, proving that time cannot erase the mark of true talent. John Colicos as Count Baltar. John Colicos, born on December 10, 1928 in Toronto, Canada, became an icon of sci-fi villainy, most famously as the cunning and treacherous Count Baltar in Battlestar Galactica, 1978. At age 50, Colicos captivated audiences with one of the most devious characters in television history. His career spanned decades and genres, but his roots remained in science fiction. He reprised his role as Kor in Star Trek, Deep Space Nine between 1994 and 1998, showcasing his enduring connection to the genre. Later roles, including Mikos Kassadine in General Hospital and the voice of Apocalypse in X-Men, further demonstrated his versatility and depth as an actor. Yet behind the scenes, Colicos faced personal struggles. He married Mona McNerney in 1956, but they divorced in 1981. They had 2 sons, Nicholas and Edmund, the latter following in his father's footsteps as an actor. Colicos passed away on March 6, 2000, after suffering a series of heart attacks. He was 71. Though gone, his legacy endures. As Count Baltar, John Colicos remains etched in the minds of fans, a masterfully portrayed villain whose presence still echoes through the halls of science fiction history. Marin Jensen as Lieutenant Athena. Marin Jensen, born on September 23, 1953 in Arcadia, California, made a lasting impression on audiences with her role as Lieutenant Athena in Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979, taking on the part at just 22 years old. She became a symbol of intelligence and strength, playing a vital role in one of the most iconic sci-fi series of its time. Beyond Battlestar Galactica, Jensen also appeared in other popular TV shows such as The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. Before entering the entertainment world, Jensen was a successful model, gracing the covers of major magazines like Vogue and Mademoiselle. However, her acting career was abruptly halted when she was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr syndrome, a debilitating illness that severely impacted her health and made it impossible for her to take on major roles. Her final performance was in Wes Craven's 1981 horror film Deadly Blessing, co-starring Sharon Stone. After stepping away from Hollywood, Jensen didn't just rebuild her life. She reinvented herself. In 1993, she co-founded Styla Cosmetics, a brand that would go on to become a favorite at major retailers like Sephora. In addition to her successful venture in the beauty industry, Marin Jensen had a long-term relationship with Don Henley, the singer-songwriter of the Eagles. While their romance eventually ended, she played an important role in his musical journey, contributing vocals and piano to several of his albums. Now 69 in 2025, Jensen remains active in the business world, having co-founded Glow Beauty Fuel, a company that produces beauty-enhancing protein bars. Though she has kept her private life largely out of the spotlight, Marin Jensen continues to be a powerful figure in both the beauty and entertainment industries, committed to meaningful, lasting work. Terry Carter as Colonel Ty. Terry Carter, born on December 16, 1928 in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York, became one of the most prominent and pioneering African-American figures in the entertainment industry. Known for his roles as Sergeant Joe Broadhurst in McCloud and Colonel Ty in Battlestar Galactica, 1978, Carter was not only a talented actor, but also a producer and media leader. Raised in a bilingual household, with a Dominican Republican mother and African-American father, Carter grew up with strong values centered on community and justice. After graduating from Northeastern University and St. John's University, he pursued his passion for acting, earning acclaim on Broadway and in television. His breakout role came in the 1950s, when he became the only black cast member on The Phil Silvers Show, 1955 to 1959. Carter also appeared in series like Combat and Breaking Point, paving the way for greater black representation on American television. Yet his most memorable role remains Colonel Ty in Battlestar Galactica, one of the most influential sci-fi series of its era. Beyond acting and producing, Terry Carter served as a leader in the entertainment industry, holding positions on the Board of Governors of both the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. In his later years, he worked extensively in Scandinavia and China, using film and television to build cultural bridges. After a long and distinguished career, Terry Carter passed away on April 23, 2024, in New York City at the age of 95. He leaves behind a powerful legacy, not only in the world of entertainment, but also in his lifelong efforts to champion diversity and social equity. Noah Hathaway as Boxy. Noah Hathaway, born on November 13, 1971, rose to worldwide fame for his role as Atreyu in The Never-Ending Story, 1984. At just 13 years old, he delivered a legendary performance in the beloved fantasy film, becoming a teen idol not only in the United States, but across Europe. His role earned him multiple nominations and awards, including the Saturn Award for Best Performance by a Younger Actor. Following his breakout success, Hathaway appeared in films like Troll and Casebusters, both in 1986, before stepping away from acting in the late 1980s. He returned briefly in 1994 with the film To Die, To Sleep, but his acting career remained low profile. In 2011, he made a modest comeback with roles in Mondo Holocausto and Sushi Girl, though neither project reached the impact of his earlier fame. Beyond acting, Hathaway is passionate about martial arts and motorcycle racing. He holds black belts in Tang Soo Do and Shotokan Karate, and has also competed in Muay Thai tournaments. An avid motorcycle builder and racer, he designs custom choppers and spends time racing at Willow Springs Raceway. In 2016, Hathaway reprised his role as Atreyu in a Spotify commercial, bringing nostalgic memories back to life. Now 54 years old in 2025, Noah Hathaway continues to engage with fans at pop culture events like Wizard World and Supernova Pop Culture Expo, preserving his legacy as a cherished figure in the world of fantasy and entertainment. Jonathan Harris as Dr. Wilker. Jonathan Harris, born on November 6, 1914, was one of science fiction's most recognizable actors, with a career that spanned over 500 screen appearances. He's best remembered for his iconic role as Dr. Zachary Smith on Lost in Space, a comically villainous character who became a pop culture legend. Over more than 3 decades in television, Harris appeared in hit series such as The Third Man, The Twilight Zone, and Bonanza. But it was his role in Lost in Space that made him unforgettable. His portrayal of Dr. Smith, the cunning and sarcastic saboteur, added a unique blend of humor and drama to the show. Harris even rewrote many of his own lines to add wit and depth, crafting one of the most quoted characters in sci-fi history, especially for his sharp-tongued jabs at the robot. Though Lost in Space brought him immense success, Harris didn't limit himself to television. He found new life in voice acting, contributing to animated films such as A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, and Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. When the Lost in Space film remake was released in 1998, he declined to participate, but did record promotional material for the film. Harris remained close to his Lost in Space castmates throughout his life, often attending tribute events and reunions. Before his death on November 3, 2002, he recorded voice work for the animated short The Bolt Who Screwed Christmas, his final performance. Lorett Spang as Cassiopeia. Lorett Spang McCook, born on May 16, 1951, in Buffalo, New York, became widely known for her role as Cassiopeia in the classic sci-fi series Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979. At just 27 years old, she portrayed a devoted medical officer who stood strong alongside the pilots in their desperate fight for survival in space. But despite the success of her role, life after the show brought unexpected struggles. Although Battlestar Galactica catapulted her into the spotlight, Spang's career took a sharp downturn after her contract with Universal Studios ended. Financial hardship followed. At one point, she nearly faced homelessness and had to set aside her dreams of acting due to a lack of financial security. In 1980, she married actor John McCook, and together they had 3 children. While their marriage has endured, it too came with its own set of challenges and sacrifices. By 2025, at age 74, Spang lives a quiet, private life, focusing on her family and occasionally attending fan conventions and special events. Though her time in the spotlight was brief, her performance as Cassiopeia remains a cherished memory for Battlestar Galactica fans and a lasting contribution to television history. George Murdoch as Dr. Salic. George Murdoch, born on June 25, 1930 in Salina, Kansas, was a familiar face on American television. At 48 years old, he took on the role of Dr. Salic, the chief medical officer of the fleet in the classic series Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979. Though a supporting character, Dr. Salic held an important role amidst the chaos and dangers of space. The son of a Lebanese immigrant and the second of 7 siblings, Murdoch showed strength early in life, a trait that would serve him well in his roles as judges, military officers, and stern doctors. Though often cast in serious roles, he once said, "Getting the job is what matters. Who cares where it comes from?" A lifelong presence in theater and television, Murdoch played God in Star Trek V and made a strong impression on Seinfeld as Yuri Testikov. But behind the spotlight, Murdoch quietly battled cancer, a disease that eventually took his life on April 30, 2012, at the age of 81. George Murdoch passed away, leaving behind a quiet but solid legacy, an iconic space doctor, a god of the silver screen, and a man who never turned down a role, even in the final moments of his life. Patrick McNee as Imperious leader. Daniel Patrick McNee, born on February 6, 1922, was a distinguished British actor, best known for his role as the suave secret agent John Steed in The Avengers. In 1978, at the age of 56, he lent his voice to Battlestar Galactica, voicing the ruthless Imperious leader, the primary antagonist of the Cylon race in their war against humanity. Despite growing up in an upper-class family, McNerney's life was full of challenges. He joined the Royal Navy during World War II, enduring hardships and deep losses. After transitioning to acting, he faced several turbulent marriages, first to Barbara Douglas, then Catherine Woodville, and lastly, Baba Majos de Nagizenye, who passed away in 2007. In addition to his notable roles in The Avengers and films like A View to a Kill, 1985, McNerney worked in countless other capacities, from voicing villains in Battlestar Galactica to appearing in Oasis music videos. Though he gained fame as a hero, his personal life was full of turmoil. He passed away in 2015 at the age of 93, leaving an indelible mark on his fans. Lance Legault as Magus. William Lance Legault, born on May 2, 1935 in Chicago, joined Battlestar Galactica in 1978 at the age of 43, portraying a strong warrior with a distinctive deep voice that made him unforgettable to viewers. Born into a poor family in Chicago, Legault faced a tough childhood, including time in an orphanage after his father's death and a period of poverty. However, he never gave up on his dreams, initially pursuing football and music before moving into acting. His career began with roles in Elvis Presley's films, and gradually, he built his reputation with roles in popular TV series like Knight Rider, Dallas, and Magnum, P.I. Though best known for his roles as a stern military figure, Legault also explored many genres, from comedy to action, always leaving a lasting impression with his powerful, resonant voice. His personal life was also full of challenges. He spent 28 years married to Teresa and had 4 children. In 2012, he passed away from heart failure, leaving behind a significant artistic legacy and unforgettable memories for his fans. James Olsen as Thain. James Olsen, born on October 8, 1930, in Evanston, Illinois, was a tall actor, 6 feet 3 inches, with a distinctive deep voice, who made a strong impression in many television and film roles. In 1978, at the age of 48, he appeared in the sci-fi series Battlestar Galactica as Thain, a wise advisor, a supporting character who brought calm amid the fierce human-Cylon conflict in space. However, Olsen's real life was quietly shocking. He lived without a wife or children, never having married, dedicating his life entirely to the arts, from Broadway stages to television, before quietly disappearing from the spotlight in 2008-1990. Discovered by Samuel Goldwyn Jr., he received a prestigious scholarship to Northwestern University and was highly regarded for his work in The Andromeda Strain and Rachel. Despite his talent, Olsen never reached the peak of fame. He passed away on April 17, 2022, in Malibu at the age of 91, with the cause of death not disclosed. After his passing, his ashes were scattered at sea, marking the end of a solitary life, without scandal, without family, but rich in depth, much like the quiet roles he portrayed. John Williams as Sire Montrose. John Williams, born on April 15, 1903 in Buckinghamshire, England, was an aristocratic actor with a refined voice who made his Broadway debut in 1924. At the age of 75, he took on the role of Sire Montrose in Battlestar Galactica, 1978 to 1979, a key supporting role in the command team, bringing maturity and experience to the intense space war. Before that, he had made his mark in cinema, most notably as Inspector Hubbard in Alfred Hitchcock's Dial M for Murder, 1954, a role that earned him a Tony Award in 1953. He also appeared in Sabrina, Witness for the Prosecution, and many episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Behind his calm demeanor as an English gentleman, He had served in the Royal Air Force during World War II. In his later years, he unexpectedly became a household name through a long-running commercial as the spokesman for the classical music collection 120 Music Masterpieces. He passed away on May 5, 1983, in California from an aneurysm at the age of 80, leaving behind a legacy of elegance and a stage and film career that spanned more than half a century. Lloyd Bridges as Commander Kain. Lloyd Bridges, born on January 15, 1913, was an iconic American actor with more than 150 roles to his name. In 1978, at the age of 65, he took on the role of Commander Kain in Battlestar Galactica, a key supporting character who exuded strength and experience, just like the real-life veteran he portrayed. Behind his illustrious career was a life full of twists and losses. He was blacklisted after being linked to a group suspected of communist sympathies, causing a halt in his career. It wasn't until he cooperated as a witness and was willing to sacrifice his reputation that he returned to acting. His family also endured unbearable pain when one of their 4 children died from sudden infant death syndrome. Despite this, he and his wife maintained a strong 60-year marriage and raised 2 children who became stars themselves, Jeff Bridges and Beau Bridges. Once a silent hero in High Noon, then a decisive commander in Battlestar Galactica, he unexpectedly reinvented himself humorously in the popular spoof films Airplane and Hot Shots. Despite battling political pressure, personal loss, and Hollywood's harsh changes, Lloyd Bridges remained steadfast until his passing on March 10, 1998, at the age of 85. Richard Lynch as Wolf. Richard Lynch, born on February 12, 1940, was one of Hollywood's most memorable villains. When he played Wolf, a ruthless character in the 1978 Battlestar Galactica series, he was 38 years old, bringing a gritty, cold, and haunting presence to the screen, strangely fitting for his own scarred face. What many don't know is that those terrifying scars were the result of a self-immolation incident in 1967 during a drug-induced episode in New York's Central Park. With over 70% of his body severely burned, Lynch overcame his addiction after a year of painful treatment and subsequently reinvented himself as an actor known for his villainous roles. His physical scars became his cinematic trademark, leading him to hundreds of antagonist roles, from Scarecrow to Invasion USA. Off-screen, Richard was a quiet man who played the saxophone, wrote music, and held Irish citizenship as part of his heritage from his parents. He shared the Broadway stage with Al Pacino, earned a Tony Award nomination, and won the Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor. His personal life was equally tragic. His son, Christopher, passed away from pneumonia in 2005. Richard himself was found dead alone in his kitchen in 2012 at the age of 72, after several days of being unreachable. His quiet death from heart failure took away a man who had portrayed some of the most brutal characters on screen, but had also endured his own personal rebirth after self-immolation. Which actor impressed you the most? Leave a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe to get more updates. Thank you and see you next time. Goodbye.